Hello everyone, I am Roshni Patel from the Electrical Engineering Department of Mahatma Gandhi Institute of Technical Education and Research Center, Navsari. The name of the subject is Effective Technical Communication and subject code is 313004. Today we are going to discuss about chapter number 4, that is Ethics in Engineering. So here flow of content. First is introduction. Then after second one is scope of engineering ethics. Why study engineering ethics? Then after accepting and sharing responsibilities. Then after whistleblowing, a right and responsibility of an engineer, and last one is impediments to responsibility. First is introduction. So here the term ethics is derived from the Greek word ethos, that means custom, habit, character or disposition. So ethics is a systematic approach to understanding, analyzing and distinguishing matters of right and wrong, good and bad, and admirable and deplorable, as they relate to the well-being of and the relationships among sentient beings. So here one example: on May 24, 2009, fire broke in a coaching institute which claimed 22 young lives. For this incident, there were unethical practices done at many instances, which involved a decision by an engineer of Surat Municipal Corporation who had regularized the illegal structure of three-storied complex. In this case, firstly, the builders built illegal construction, then there was only one exit in the top floor, and to add to this, the coaching institute owner added dome to add more classes. There was no fire safety either in the manufacturing unit from where the fire started nor the coaching institute. Secondly, the SMC failed to make ethical decision of not allowing the construction. And thirdly, the fire brigade failed to reach the place on time, and when they reached, they were not well equipped. So, the Surat case is a sad example of unethical engineering practice. It shows that how important the engineering knowledge for society and its well-being is, and because the engineering practice directly affects the lives of the public, it shoulders a big responsibility of their safety. Then after, next is scope of engineering ethics. So here engineering is transforming science into useful products for human comfort. Engineering is something that engineers do, and what they do has profound effects on others. Ethics in engineering, then, is the ability as well as responsibility of an engineer to judge his decisions from the contents of this general well-being of the society. So here, ethics is the study of moral principles that governs a person's behavior or conducting an activity. Engineering ethics is the rules and standards that governs the decisions and actions of an engineer as a professional. Means it is the study of moral issues that confront engineers and engineering organizations when some crucial decisions are taken. During their engineering studies, the student receives the knowledge of basic science and its application, problem-solving methodology, and designing, but generally receives little training in business practice, safety, and ethics. So, several cases, like as we discussed in previous slide, have led to an awareness of the importance of ethics in engineering, as it clearly reflects the impact of engineering on society. Moreover, engineers face situations where they have to deal with many things that are not known to them as a result of a design of new device or product. So here this places a few challenges on engineers as far as decisions are taken. Now, why study engineering ethics? So here, before putting any designs into the market or implementing the new ideas, an engineer must see all the aspects, whether it will work well, its impact on the lives of the public, its working under different conditions and safety measures. An engineer can never be enough sure that the new design will not have a detrimental change in the society or not harm anyone at all. Means it is important for an engineer to be more imaginative and check all kinds of possibilities. And an engineer must apply critical and creative thinking here to make sure that a new design will work safely and will not harm anyone. But most engineers do not encounter cases like above where there is a big loss of life and the issue may create huge disturbance in the city or the country. But every engineer faces challenging situations that require careful ethical reflection and decision making. So these issues in an engineering practice involves fraud, fairness, honesty and conflicts of interest. Now accepting and sharing responsibilities. So here in the previous slide we show that what engineers do matters a great deal, whether it is a risk of public health or risk of an accident. It is important for engineers to understand and act on their responsibilities. But there are different ways of looking at the responsibilities. Some engineers are independent consultants or members of consulting firms who provide services to clients. However, most engineers are corporate employees. Whether the engineers work for clients or corporate employers, they have basic job responsibilities. So here there are various conceptions of responsibilities based on how engineers accept responsibility or what others expect them to do as a part of their responsibility. So moreover, when a harm is done, the responsibility is distinguished as intentionally causing harm, means knowingly and deliberately. Second one is negligently causing harm, means unknowingly but failing to exercise due care. And third one is recklessly causing harm, means having conscious awareness that harm may occur but neglecting it without any intentions of causing harm. So here, whether the harm is caused due to any of the above reasons, engineers are morally responsible for any harm that has caused, even if sometimes their supervisors or company may be legally at fault because they may have failed morally in failing to report or even prevent such behavior on the part of the others. So here how an engineer views his or her responsibilities. So here more importantly, engineers have the responsibility to serve their employers and public in ways that prevents harm. So how an engineer views his or her responsibility depends on the three basic attitudes towards responsibility. First is minimalist view. This view holds that engineers are responsible to conform to the standard procedures of their profession and fulfill the basic duties defined by the terms of their employment. Means, if any harm is done due to failure of adhering to these standard procedures, then only they are held responsible. But this approach is based on the minimum requirement and it may prove to be insufficient at the time of unexpected problems. So, this view usually brings about a negative approach like doing only what is within one's written duties and not going beyond that. So, this approach is limited to avoidance and blame, and the main concern is staying out of trouble. Then after, second one is reasonable care. This view moves beyond the minimal view's concern. While in the minimal view, it is sufficient to adhere to the standard procedures, the reasonable care view aims to prevent any possible harm to the concerned people. Means the professional follows all standard procedures but evaluates the situations for any possible harm and then works to prevent it. It depends on moral basis of an individual. Means the aim is to do whatever possible to avoid any kind of harm or accident. And then after, third one is beyond one's duty. With this view, a professional assumes full responsibility and if anything wrong happens, he or she sees their own responsibility. So, they strive to do whatever it takes to make their work better and does even more than the required standards. Means they always feel that they have to do the best and it is usually inadequate. These people take such actions which are commendable, but usually people around would take it for granted. Also, if they don't take these actions, most of us would not think that their not taking these actions indicate moral shortcoming. So rather than putting responsibilities on each other's shoulders, they fully assume the responsibility which are self-imposed. So most of the times when engineers strive to do the good by putting extra effort, they are discouraged due to shortage of time, resource limitations and other priorities. Then after, next is whistleblowing, a right and responsibility of an engineer. So here, whistleblowing is an act by an employee of informing the public or higher management of unethical or illegal behavior by an employer or supervisor. There can be two whistleblowing. First is internal whistleblowing and second one is external whistleblowing. Internal whistleblowing, where an employee surpasses the immediate supervisor and reports to the higher management about the wrongdoing. And external whistleblowing, where the employee reports the unethical practice of one's organization to either media or law enforcement authorities. So here, whistleblowing can be considered as the responsibility of the engineer to make others aware about the unethical practices which may harm the public. But whistleblowing must be done only when there is a dire need to do so. That means there is a clear and considerable harm that can be avoided by it when one has complete knowledge of all facts to support one's arguments, when one has complete capability to persist through to end and face the consequences, and when whistleblowing is the last resort. So, whistleblowing must only be done if you have already tried to put your point forward to your immediate authority and they haven't considered it seriously. Then after, next is impediments, means obstacle or barrier or hurdle to responsibility. So here engineers fail to take up their share of responsibilities due to various reasons. So here first is self-interest. Engineers, like other professionals, have their own ambitions. So their self-interest sometimes prevent them from looking at the interest of others and may even tramp to work contrary to their responsibility. Then after second one is fear. So here declaring a fault after discovering it requires lot of courage. So if the responsibility of the fault is completely yours, you may have the fear of losing your reputation and career. And whistleblowing about the fault of others, like your collegiate superior or even the organization, may invite lots of opposition and even loss of job. Then after third one is self deceptions. Sometimes engineers do things which may be unethical because they may have self deceptive excuses like I am doing this for my organization or it works this way only. So such self deceptions avoid them to fulfill their responsibilities as a professional. Then after fourth one is ignorance. The lack of the knowledge is sometimes due to the lack of willingness to go through the challenge one might have to face in solving the problem, and sometimes due to lack of time due to pressure of deadlines. Means the lack of knowledge that a design is not safe enough naturally acts as a barrier to an engineer's responsible act. Then after, next is different perspectives. Sometimes failure of understanding various perspectives may lead to not being able to see a problem that is otherwise very clear. Means this is not intentional, but as we tend to think with our own perspectives, we may not be able to analyze from different point of views and fail to recognize the problem. Then after, next is lack of acceptance of authority. So here engineering codes of ethics emphasize the importance of engineers exercising independent objective judgment in performing their functions. This is called professional autonomy. But most engineers work in supervision of their bosses, and so it is difficult for them to work with independent and objective judgment. So the result in their inability to exercise their responsibility as engineers. And last one is group link. Many engineering decisions have failed just due to group link. So here, when a collective decision has to be taken, usually the members of the group agrees even if they do not want to. Means, first of all, there is a less fear of failure as it is a collective decision. Members are not more serious about morality because it is not their individual decision. Also, they are not ready to be the reason for creating a disturbance in what is already going on, and due to the strong feelings of belongingness, they agree with all. And finally, the major role of group link is the pressure from the group leader to agree with the decision. So, group link poses a challenge in thinking critically, and members go with the flow even if they find there is a flaw. So, these are the impediments to the responsibility. These are the questions which were asked in previous GTU examination. Thank you.